When I was a kid, and I'm talking about when I was around 10, it's amazing how much my dad was trying to teach me. Everything from how to tie a fly and how to hunt and fish to how to install cabinet doors and how to float and paint drywall. Pretty much everything. I grew up in a construction household, so we kind of did it all. Anyway, there were times when my dad would show me how to do something, and then I would do it, and then he would look at me over his glasses like an old guy would, and he would say, "Damn, boy, that's just plain wrong." And that's why the title of this video is Just Plain Wrong. It just so happens what I did that is a hilarious mistake involved a hand plane. And that's what I want to show you today. So the other thing my dad used to say, and I still don't quite understand what it meant, but he would tell me that I could mess something up so bad that I could mess up a good rock fight. And if you've ever heard that or you know what it means, do me a favor, please drop a comment and let me know. Because I think I kind of know what it means, but I don't know, I feel like I'm missing something too. Anyway, here's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you, I don't know, less than a 1-minute clip of what I did to my plane that was a hilarious mistake. Now it's super easy to fix, so it's nothing that's going to, hurt my plane or anything. It's just, I have a perspective as a new hand tool woodworker that expert YouTubers probably would never show you. And that is that I can be pretty creative in how I mess up my tools. So that's what I want to show you. So this is number 5 jack plane, and this is the one that I made the mistake on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the mistake, and I'm actually just going to recreate it, and you watch along, and if you can spot it, drop a comment and let me know, or if you don't catch it, I'll show you when we're done. So anyway, so let's do this. So it started out, I had my plane taken apart like this, and I was practicing my blade sharpening. Got my blade nice and sharp, and I was ready to go test it out. So all I had to do was put my plane back together and go test it out on the shooting board. So let's do that now. You watch along and see if you're able to spot what I do wrong. Did you catch it? If you did, excellent. I think this is the kind of mistake that really only somebody like me, someone who's really new to hand tools, especially block planes, would do. So now let's take it over to the shooting board and let's see how this nice new sharp blade performs. I'll meet you over there. Okay, so we got our nice freshly sharpened hand plane here, and now we're going to try it out on the shooting board. I'm as new to the shooting board as I am to hand tools in general. If you're not familiar with what a shooting board is, it's a little handmade shop jig like this. The only thing that really has to be precise is this angle here. This needs to be a 90-degree angle. So you can put a piece of material up here, and you can use a hand plane to go back and forth and basically take off little bits of material until you get a nice smooth, flat, perpendicular edge to the face. I would highly recommend, if you're interested in this kind of thing, go check out Rob Kosman's shooting boards. That's where everything that I currently know about shooting boards I learned from Rob Kosman. So no sense in me trying to replace his teachings when I can just refer you to him. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of passes. Nothing's really happening, so I need to advance the blade a little bit. Still got nothing, so we'll advance the blade a little bit more. I'm just going to keep advancing the blade until I finally start to get some shavings. Starting to hear a little something there. Okay, you hear that? Does that sound like a nice, brand new, freshly sharpened blade on a piece of wood? I didn't think so either. Anyway, I'm going to move the camera so I can show you the other angle, and then I'm going to show you what I did wrong. Okay, camera's on the other side now. You can see, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but this is a pretty rough edge of some, I don't know, 1/4 inch thick hard maple. So, with a freshly sharpened blade, I should be able to get really nice, fresh shavings off of it without much work. But you hear that sound? And that's all I'm getting is just a little bit of, well, really nothing. So, okay, so what did I do wrong? Now I'm going to show you. And if you saw this in the video, good on you. I think that's pretty impressive. So, for those uninitiated like myself to hand planes, I don't really know all of the components, necessarily. I know this is called a frog. This is the plane body. This is the sole, the tote, other names. Anyway, this is the business end that matters, and it's made up of 3 things. There's a screw, the blade itself, and what's called a chip breaker. And the chip breaker is designed to give the shaving a place to hit and curl such that it doesn't get all jammed up in your plane. So the mistake that I made was that when I put it back together, I put the chip breaker out in front of the blade itself. And that's exactly backwards. When you put these back together, oh, I need to grab a tool. So after you're finished sharpening and you're putting these back together, the way it's supposed to go back together is that, for one thing, it's just good practice. You don't want to be banging these edges together because you spent a lot of time getting a really sharp blade, and so you want to be careful how you put it back together. Best practice, I guess is the way to say it, is to put it together like this, slide it forward a little bit such that your sharp blade is out in front of the chip breaker, and then overlap them a little bit. Basically, you're just trying to be careful not to be banging these pieces of metal together. So now the correct way to set this up is, what I did was I had the chip breaker out in front of the blade. So when I put it back in there, the chip breaker, which makes a really crappy plane blade, by the way, was basically just rubbing back and forth on the wood. So that's what I did wrong. So when you put your plane blades together, it's important that the chip breaker, which is the shorter, it kind of sucks because they both look like a blade, but the chip breaker actually needs to go behind the blade by some measured distance. Now, there's only about 1 billion opinions on the internet about what you should do here. Rob Kosman goes about 1/32 of an inch, and if it's good enough for Rob, it's good enough for me. That dude knows more about woodworking than I ever will. So anyway, hopefully you can see that on the camera. I'm going to go for about 1/32 of an inch of having the chip breaker behind the blade. So now I'm going to tighten that back up. I like to get it just kind of snug and check and make sure that my blades haven't shifted and moved, that they're still where I want them to be. And this isn't super accurate, I'm just doing this for the video. And then I'll go ahead and snug it down. And so now let's put this back in the plane and let's see what this does. So this is a jack plane and this is a bevel down plane. I've made that mistake too and actually installed it with the bevel facing up, and it performs about as well as you would think it would. You want to make sure that your plane body is pretty cleaned out. It doesn't take too much gunk in there to prevent the blade from sitting flat, in which case you'll get all sorts of funky cuts that you probably won't be too happy with. So this isn't a video on how to use a hand plane. This is just a video on how Cale could mess up a good rock fight. So okay, so there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the blade, advancing the blade forward until it comes through the plane. That way I can see if it's straight or not. This adjustment lever on a hand plane will allow you to move it left or right to change the angle of the blade. So I'd like it to be coming pretty straight out, which it looks like it is. So now what I'm going to do is back the blade all the way back out until I can't see it anymore. I'm going to make one more adjustment on the angle here. There we go. Okay, so now the plain blade is all the way in. So let's put it back on here. Let's put this rough side back out and let's see what it does now. So we just bring the blade back a little bit more. I'd really like for it to not be making any contact at all when I first start making a few passes. And you can see this board is just a piece of scrap. It's not straight at all. So now I'm going to advance the blade a little bit until I start to get some contact. And so you can already see just a couple of passes. That's what your plane should be doing. And if it isn't, if it's making baby powder like mine was earlier, the first thing I would check is to see if you messed up a good rock fight. Did you put your chip breaker in wrong? So there we go. Not really much more to talk about than that. So I have to admit, I am really enjoying getting into hand tools and using more hand tools. I really do feel like they connect me to the wood and allow me to feel what I'm doing. And if it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't have known that I'd put my tool back together wrong and that it wasn't performing properly. So there you have it. There's how to mess up a good rock fight, according to what my dad would say. So that's about it. If you found this video helpful, please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have advice for me, being somewhat new to the hand tool community, I'd love to get your feedback. And if you like content like this, please consider liking and subscribing. And I'll be back next week with another one. Till then, friend, that's it for me. Peace, love, and sawdust. I'm out.